Hello, hello, my friends. It is not really that time of the month, but it is in my household, and this is my channel, and I'm doing what I want. I am sharing with you guys my July candle empties. Now, we are a little bit beyond the halfway mark of the month of July. However, the reason why I am sharing this video with you guys a little bit early is because I am trying to make room in my collection for all of the new fall. Raise your hand if your wallet took quite the hit over the last 2 weeks between KRINGLE and Caramel Sundays launching their fall collections. But B, the other thing is with all of the new fall candles coming into my stash, I mentioned on Friday that my mindset has pretty much shifted off of true summer fragrances, and I am starting to burn a lot of traditional fall, fall transitional scents. And even this week, you guys, I've been burning a lot of actual early fall scents. A lot of that is I'm trying to dedicate some thoughts for reviews for you guys. And, being a reviewer, being the name of this game, I figured, you know what, I'm probably not going to finish burning any other candles by the end of this month, just because I'm burning so many new things right now. I just don't anticipate really finishing up. I might finish up 1 or 2 candles by the end of July. So I figured, you know what, let's go ahead and get these out of my garage. And the other thing that I am going to share with you guys, I did call this my empties, and I am doing a pretty massive declutter. And I'll talk about that when we start that portion, but I'm going to go ahead and start out with the empties. So if you like this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. I will make sure that I have everything that I am talking about today listed in the description box down below. I will have timestamps as well as any links and affiliate discount codes you can find down there. But let's not waste any more time on this intro. My last video, I was very verbose. It was my first video sitting back down in front of the camera, so I was just having fun chit-chatting. But we've got an agenda today. There's a lot to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with my empties, starting with this candle from the Gift Gala. This is Sunlit Shelves. Sunlit Shelves has fragrance notes of cashmere coconut, cedar, and sandalwood. Now, I only had this in a 2-wick, and here's the thing. I really enjoyed this fragrance. I like this fragrance quite a bit. Would I repurchase it? Maybe. The only reason why I'm saying maybe is because to my nose, and I know my friend Amy from Beloved Fragrance Find, she disagrees with me on this one, but that's okay. We all have different noses. This smells very, very similar to Crinkle Candles Knit Sweaters to my nose, which if you look at their fragrance notes, they're very similar fragrance notes. Even Knit Sweaters has a little bit of like a coconut cashmere note in it. And I feel like they're very similar. Is it a beautiful fragrance? Absolutely. I like fragrances like this usually after the holidays. This is a really nice, cozy winter scent. I tend to like to burn fragrances like this with a coffee blend. So I could see myself maybe not burning this with like Hawkins Autumn, but if you are familiar with like Lavender Oat Latte from Caramel Sundays, or if you're a Bath & Body Works fan, like Pink Lavender and Espresso. The other fragrance that I really like burning this with from KRINGLE, I think it's their Warm, Cozy and Warm. That's another like creamy coffee scent. That's typically the way that I like to burn them. So for me personally, I feel like this is a good fragrance for the winter, for the summer. It's a good year-round fragrance. I do know that I think Shelby is keeping this one around year-round now, and you can also pick it up in a 4-wick 40-ounce vessel. I will say that my 2-wick varied in performance in terms of strength and throw. This was probably, I would say this was about a 6 for me. It did do a lot better in my closed concept bedroom. And again, it was a nice evening burn for me. But again, it's now a fragrance profile that I'm pretty familiar with. I know that I like it, but again, with my channel, and I'm always trying to buy new stuff, or I should say, I personally allocate more funds to purchasing new for review. I would repurchase this fragrance, but it's probably not going to be anytime soon. But I will say that if you love supporting, if you love supporting Gift Gala, maybe you're looking for another candle to throw in to get to that $75 free shipping threshold. If you've tried Knit Sweaters from KRINGLE, then I think you would like it. Or vice versa. If you've tried this one from Gift Gala and you like Sunlit Shelves and you're trying to do the same thing over at KRINGLE, their Knit Sweaters is a very, very comparable fragrance to my nose. Another small business that I finished burning a candle on is from that candle place. This is the fragrance Oatmeal Maple Cookies, and this was actually in one of her 3-wick vessels. Now, we have talked about this before. Her labels, I do burn my candles in hurricanes. So always put that out there. Soy wax candles in particular need to get very hot. I also live in an environment where I am running the air conditioning a good solid 6 months out of the year. We are in that time of the year. And so I like my candles to be protected from that, forced air going around. We have ceiling fans on. In fact, I got one on right here above me right now. So I like the flames to be protected from that. So therefore, in a hurricane, I feel like the wax gets super, super hot down here, and it does turn the label blue. I know that Shelby is aware of that. So I'm going to tell you guys, I really, really liked this 3-wick. I had a very good experience with this candle. I will say that I actually found this candle to be stronger than Shelby's other 2-wicks. There's 2 Shelbys, by the way. There's Shelby at Gift Gala, and then there's Shelby over at that candle place. They all use this type of vessel, which I think is pretty, it's a pretty, I would say it's a pretty common vessel for some of these smaller soy wax candle brands. I know that there are 4 that I've shopped from that have all used that candle place, Gift Gala, Caramel Sundays, and Copper Candle. They all use that, and I think that these perform quite well in closed concept spaces. But if you have a more open concept, I would say a 3-wick or a 4-wick is probably going to be better likelihood that you're going to have better performance. And I will say that was the case with this oatmeal maple cookies. This was a beautiful fragrance. She has notes of almond, cinnamon, ginger, maple sugar, spiced oats, cookie dough. I really like this. Now, I am going to say I didn't really think of this as being like an oatmeal cookie scent, but this was a really nice spiced oat type of fragrance, really beautiful year-round gourmand. I could see myself enjoying something like this with like a tree note around Christmas time because it has kind of those like spicy types of fragrances with it. I like fragrances like this in the fall, but even in the summertime here, I feel like this would go really nicely with like a banana scent. I burn this alongside Kringle Candles Sugared Diamonds, which was like their fruit and flakes, which is also kind of like a spiced oat with a little bit of banana in it. No banana in this, but very, very pretty fragrance. I think that this is a fan favorite for Shelby, but very good. And I got good performance out of this as well. It was a solid like 7.5, 8 for me. No issues with the wicks at all. Sometimes with these 3-wick vessels, we get some wick issues, but I had 0 wick issues. So if this one comes back in this 3-wick format, I would highly recommend it. Very good candle, fragrance, and the performance. All right, I have a 2-wick here that I have finished burning from Caramel Sundays. This is Lunchbox, and this was actually gifted to me by Amy over at Beloved Fragrance Finds. Those of you guys who have been following my channel for a while, you guys know this. If you follow both of us, maybe you just discovered me or maybe you just discovered her. Amy and I only live an hour apart, so we do meet up every once in a while to exchange candles, get together just to have lunch. We've kind of struck up a little bit of a friendship, and I consider her a friend now. And so it's just kind of fun to have another like candle friend in real life, because my friends in my like close circle, they enjoy candles here and there. I have one friend who purchases from Bath and Body Works when they run a good sale. But otherwise, like they're not really as crazy about candles as I am. They're surprised that there's like a whole niche and community on the internet for that. And I'm like, oh yeah, there is. I'm like, you can find a niche for everything, really. But anyways, Amy had given me this Lunchbox fragrance. So Lunchbox has fragrance notes of oatmeal, warm milk, baked peaches, muddled strawberries, syrup, vanilla, and brown sugar. Now, I initially did not purchase this in the 2-wick. Once I heard my friends all talking about it, I was like, oh, I think I'm really going to love that fragrance. And I went ahead and I purchased it in a 4-wick. Now, here's the thing, you guys, with this fragrance. I like it, but I feel like for me personally, it came along at a little bit too late in the season for me to enjoy it, because again, my mindset has shifted over to fall fragrances right now. And this to me is still kind of like a summer scent. I feel like I would have enjoyed a fragrance like this a little bit more, maybe in like May, maybe April or May, when I was still really into like fruity gourmands. But right now, again, my mindset has just shifted. I will also say my 2-wick on this did okay. I actually burned this in my daughter's bedroom. I found this to be a little bit lighter in terms of strength and throw. Now, I do have the 4-wick, and I have burned the 4-wick probably about 4 or 5 times, and I do find that one to be stronger. It's creamier. I definitely pick up more notes in it. So if you have the 4-wick, it's probably going to perform well for you. But the 2-wick, I would say that this was probably around like a 5 in terms of strength and throw. Not very strong for me. Here's the thing, and I'm giving you a little, I'll let you guys know, one candle that is going to be part of my declutter is the 4-wick of Lunchbox again. And I will touch on this when I get into the declutter portion. It's not because it's a bad fragrance or anything. It's just that I am trying to save myself the mental, it's not the mental anguish. That's very dramatic sounding. But for me, I have talked about, I am not a collector at heart. I am somebody who likes to use up my candle stash. And for me, if I get too many candles in my collection or in my stash, I start to feel overwhelmed by them. I don't know what to burn. It starts to, it sounds funny. I get anxious with a lot of clutter, and I associate having too many candles as being clutter. And so I was actually watching a video of Terry's. She has a channel called, I think it's called Wicked Truths and Poor Decisions and Wicked Truths. I love Terry's channel. But Terry was saying that she had bought this fragrance, I think in wax melts, and she really loved it. She was leery about the peach. So I did reach out to Terry and I said, hey girl, if you want to pay the shipping, I will send Lunchbox to you. So I feel like I want to, it's a like for me, but knowing that there's somebody else out there who really, really loves that fragrance and wants to have it in her collection, I was like, you know what, let's go ahead and just, send it off to her. So Lunchbox, I probably wouldn't repurchase it, and the one that I do have in the 4-wick is going to be decluttered. Now, the other 3 candles that I do have are Caramel Sundays candles. So I did finish burning my very first 5-wick. Actually, my very first 5-wick was Oatmilk and Pistachio. I still have about half of it sitting over there on my table. I like these big 5-wicks to be like a table centerpiece on my kitchen table. I don't have a big fancy dining room. I just have my kitchen table in the nook over there. But I like to have one of these. And so Key West Coconut, I've talked about this before, has fragrance notes of buttery coconut, sea salt, torch sugar, heart of palm, golden hour amber. Oh, I can still smell this. Yes, I would repurchase this. This is one of my favorite fragrances for the summer. Is it anything like amazingly unique and like this new conceptual blend? No. Is this a very good, basic in the best way, fleshy coconut scent that goes well with pretty much every candle that I have in my summer stash? Yes. And that's why I purchased it. That's why I wanted it in the 5-wick. I am finding that the 5-wick fragrances, I usually like to be a scent that is a good blender. It goes with a lot of things. When Caramel Sundays had those huge, what were they? The big, how many ounces were those? Like 150-ounce candles. I always got Bakery on Main, right? Because that's a good blending one. Also, by the way, you guys, Bakery on Main, they are trying to get it right. Something has happened with something has happened where they're trying to get it right. They keep trying to make it, and something's not smelling right to their nose. So they're trying to get it back in stock. So hopefully they'll get that figured out. But Key West Coconut. Love this fragrance, would repurchase this. I found that I had better performance in this large 5-wick as one would expect. But this fragrance to me, I would say in the 5-wick, this was probably about a 7.5 for me. Again, very nice complimentary fragrance. I would repurchase this next summer to go along with all of my summer candles because I really, really like that scent. All right, speaking of Oatmilk and Pistachio, I just talked about the 5-wick. I finished burning my 4-wick of Oatmilk and Pistachio. I have fragrance notes here of warm vanilla oat milk, creamy pistachio, almond, brown sugar, and crumbled cinnamon. So yes, I burned this with Lunchbox as well. And then you're also going to see another fragrance that I finished burning that you might be like, Katie, that seems a little bit out of season. But I told you guys, I was feeling ready for a little bit of a change up, and I had like half of that candle still sitting in my stash. So I was like, I'm going to go ahead and finish it up. I'll talk about that last. But Oatmilk and Pistachio, you guys, this is such a beautiful blending creamy scent. It's got that pistachio note that Caramel Sundays is known for. I do know that they amped up the spices a little bit in the 2026 version compared to the 2025. But I do love this scent. I know a lot of you guys have purchased this candle upon my recommendation, and there's quite a few of you guys that like it. It's just a good, creamy oat milk type of scent. There's a little bit of spice to it, but you get that nuttiness of the pistachio. Just a beautiful scent. I will say that the 4-wick I get pretty good strength and throw out of this. This one's about an 8 for me in terms of strength and throw. But I really enjoyed pairing it with, and this you might want to keep in mind because I know Oatmilk and Pistachio, I think it was in the May restock in a 5-wick. So if you have Oatmilk and Pistachio in your stash, but you're maybe wanting to blend it with a fall fragrance, this fragrance is returning to Caramel Sundays in their August restock. Now it will only be in a 2-wick. I have a 4-wick here. This is the fragrance Cranberry Pistachio. Cranberry Pistachio. Oh, I don't have the fragrance notes on the front of it, you guys, because this was a 2025 pour. If you go onto the website, you will see the Cranberry Pistachio in the 2-wick. This fragrance, you guys, blends 2 notes that Caramel Sundays does extremely well, right? Cranberry and pistachio, and it is that. It's the like their cranberry, it's not overly tart and it's not overly sweet. It's just right there in the middle. It's beautiful, mixed with the nuttiness of the pistachio note. So you put this with the creaminess of the oat milk and pistachio, and it's just a fantastic blend. This fragrance for me personally, you guys, is more of what I would call a bookend around the holidays type of fragrance. So this is a scent that I reach for more so in November, or I would burn it after the holidays in January. But again, I was really looking through my stash and thinking, okay, what are some fragrances that I can finish burning up this time of year that I really enjoy, but I want to make some room in my, in my storage areas. And so I only had about half of this left and I decided to go ahead and finish it up. This one for me, I would say it was about like a 7.5 for me in terms of strength and throw. Not as dense and creamy as oat milk and pistachio, but still a good performer. I would say that I think the 2-wick might be a little bit on the lighter end. I'm trying to remember that Cranberry Pistachio was actually one of the first fragrances that I bought from Caramel Sundays when I started purchasing from them back in 2024. And I really, really enjoyed it in the 2-wick, but I knew that I wanted a little bit more oomph to it for my open concept areas. And so that's why I ended up getting it in the 4-wick last time. But this is a beautiful scent and I do recommend it. Just be aware that if you're wanting to get the 2-wick, if you have an open concept space, you might want to get 2 of them to try to fill that. So I only finished burning 6 candles this month. That's it, you guys. So again, I told you, it's also because I was gone for a week in the early part of July. So that also contributed a little bit to it. And that also contributes to now we're going to be getting into my declutter. And part of the other reason why I just said that I'm going to be doing this declutter, I think I actually have about 20 candles here that I have decluttered or I'm planning to declutter because, like I said, so many fall fragrances coming into my stash. I do have plans in late August to go out of town for a month, or for a month, gosh, not for a month, for a week. So again, I'm just trying not to get overwhelmed with too many candles. I need a sip of water because the fan dries out my throat. And the AC just kicked on, so got 2 things going on here. All right, so really quickly, you guys, I'm going to go over the fragrances that I decluttered. I did post this on my Instagram the other day too, in my Instagram stories. First and foremost, I talked about on Friday. I like referring to things all over the board. I'm sorry, you guys. That's just how I am. Squirrel, squirrel. Okay, so first part, I talked about this on Instagram the other day. If you are following me over on Mercari, if you are going to see some candles that I am decluttering from my stash, and they are fragrances that I have previously enjoyed or said that I like or recommend, please know that the reason why I am moving past them is either A, I love them on cold sniff, but when I took a flame to it, there were notes that came out that I did not love. B, it could just be that it's a fragrance that I enjoyed at one point, but I feel a little bit over the profile. Or C, it's a fragrance that I like, but I don't want to hold on to it and give it priority to burn over all of the new stuff that I'm most likely going to be burning when I come into the new season. So you're going to see a couple of those, and those are kind of just, casualties of that mindset, I would say. So I'm going to explain all of it. I did mention on Friday that I do have a Mercari where I am reselling a lot of these. I have mentioned, this is probably the last time I'll mention this. There's a couple of candles in here that I'm going to be decluttering that I did receive in PR. I will not be listing those on Mercari. I don't think it's ethical to list candles for sale that I did not pay for. So just know if you happen to see something on Mercari that I am selling, I did pay for it. And also I do absorb the shipping costs. I just include free shipping on my Mercari. So if you're ever looking at the prices and going, gosh, that's a little high for a candle. Well, it's because I'm absorbing the shipping cost too. So you're not having to pay shipping on top of that. All right, so quickly, let's go over what I decluttered, where they went and why. Okay, first candle that I decluttered was Sea Salt from Caramel Sundays. I like it. I know a lot of my friends love that fragrance. Again, I was kind of moving past the by the time I had gotten to the halfway point of it, I was at the point where I was like, okay, I'm kind of over summer fragrances. That is a very good clean scent. I know I really like the laundry detergent. Plain Jane is still my favorite fragrance for them from laundry detergent, but I ended up giving that candle to my friend Amy because I know that she really, really loves that scent. That's probably one of her favorite fragrances from Caramel Sundays. And she is still burning a lot of like fresh summer types of scents. And so I thought, you know what, she would enjoy that. I did like pairing that with Sunlit Shelves if you have it in your collection. So I moved on from Sea Salt. I did also gift sugar diamonds to Amy. I thought that she might enjoy one of those, which means that I think I still have two more in my collection. I either have one or two more still in my collection. Great fragrance from KRINGLE. I wish that they would bring that one back. I feel like that's one of the best gourmands that they have ever done. I am decluttering a HOMEWORX candle. I am decluttering pumpkin cold brew. I did burn through half of that. I've concluded, again, there's so many new fragrances that have come along that have become loves for me, like Caramel Sundays, Hawkins Autumn. If I want a coffee, kind of like a coffee-based fragrance, I will definitely go that route. So I did decide to go ahead and move on from Pumpkin Cold Brew. Also, HOMEWORX is not 100% soy wax candles, and that has been what I have been, that's been my preference of what I like to burn these days. So I decided to move on from that. Another one that might surprise some people is Caramel Sundays Pastry Parlor. Now that is like a lemon pastry type of fragrance. I do know that one, I think that they plan to bring that back next spring. I will say, I personally am kind of over lemon gourmands. And one of the things that I think that I have come to a realization about is that I like lemon cake notes, but anything that's a little bit denser than that, my nose has kind of been having a hard time this year with lemon with a flame being taken to it. There's something that's coming across a little bit sulfur like, and it's not just been with Caramel Sundays. I've had that experience with KRINGLE a lot this year too. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe my nose is changing and my preferences aren't loving that. So I did decide to go ahead and move on from Pastry Parlor because, again, it's a fragrance that I like. I will say that it's probably my favorite lemon fragrance. Actually, no, Milk and Cereal is probably my favorite lemon heavy fragrance that I've gotten from Caramel Sundays. But if you're going to ask me what my number one lemon gourmand is, unfortunately, it's still HOMEWORX's Limoncello Cupcake. I love that fragrance because there's more vanilla in it. I need to give KRINGLE candles, I think it's called Christmas Cupcake, Christmas Cake Pop, another try. That one has kind of a lemon cake thing going on. So anyways, I did declutter Pastry Parlor. I did move on from the Country Candle Blueberry Milkshake. I only have maybe about a third of that left over. And again, you guys, it's a great fragrance. Nobody can get their hands on it anymore unless you purchase it off of a resale. So I did go ahead and move on from that one, as well as Coconut and Blueberry Tart. Great fragrances, you guys. But again, I know that there's going to be lots of new stuff that I'm probably going to be enjoying come next summer, and I want to make sure that I prioritize those things to burn when that time comes. Now, another candle that I did also recently declutter is Orange Scone from Copper Candle Company. This is one of those situations, once again, where I loved this one on cold. But when I took a flame to it, something about the orange oil with the wick going, my nose didn't like it. I don't know what is going on with my nose. There's just been some candles. I don't know if it's the wicks. I don't know if it's the oils that are being used. I don't know, or it's just my nose. My nose detects some of those things almost like a how would I put it? I called it the other day. Like it's almost like this. I get it more so with brown sugar notes, but it just comes across kind of scorched and too I don't know. I don't know what it is. I actually was talking to my some of my candle creator friends in a group chat, and I actually said that I maybe am coming to the realization that I don't think I'm as much of a gourmand lover as I've always thought that I am. I don't like. I've concluded that I like gourmands. I think if they're like cake, but anything that's supposed to be like a cookie, I typically don't like. Or what's the other, like a cookie, muffins sometimes. But I like cakey types of scents when it comes to gourmands. Otherwise, not so much for me. So, or like I like a crumble scent, you know, like a fruity crumble. Like I'm excited to try the Dad's blueberry cobbler. I liked the salted peach butter. I like fruity gourmands, but yeah, they can't, if they're trying to incorporate like a cookie note or a scone or something that's a little bit more dense, my nose typically doesn't like it. So orange scone, I did move on from. Let's see, spiced cinnamon buttercream from that candle place. It's a little bit too cinnamon heavy for me. It's leaning a little bit too red hot cinnamon for me on burn. So I did decide to go ahead and move on from that. Here's one, you guys, that I actually just showed this candle in my Friday 5 in my most recent haul. Actually, well, this is one of them. I already talked about two, but spice covered, you guys. Here I was so excited about that candle. It was my number one from the Autumn Almanac from Gift Gala. When I lit it, here's the thing, loved it on cold. When I lit it, the cardamom really came forward, and I have concluded my nose does not like cardamom in candles. It gets a little bit too heavy to my nose. There's something that my nose determines it's almost kind of like stinky. Doesn't like it. It can handle it for I can handle it for about 30 minutes, but after that, the fragrance just changes to my nose and I don't like it. So unfortunately, I just bought that candle in the 3-wick, but it's a no-go for me. So I am going to list that one on my Mercari. It may have gotten snatched up because I do pre-film this video, but I do plan to put that one on my Mercari here to be sold, which is unfortunate. But I will say, on the other side, that blankets and books I lit up at the same time, and oh my word, that one is really, really good. Loving that fragrance. So it's not all bad and negative. While we're talking about Gift Gala, you guys saw the Hallows Eve did get claimed. I mentioned in the Friday 5 that I had burned it, loved it on cold, loved it so much that I bought it in a 4-wick. I lit the 2-wick, did not like that brown sugar note with a flame to it. It smells a little bit like fermented to me, kind of scorched. Not a fan. Two of you guys were able to get it. I know, both the 4-wick and the 2-wick have already been claimed. So, and then Pumpkin Caramel Dreams in the 2-wick was another candle that I decluttered from Gift Gala. It's from the Autumn Almanac collection. I smell a lot of caramel in there, and caramel is one of those notes. Again, sometimes I can just smell it on cold sniff that I'm like, I don't think I'm going to like this one when it is burning. It can come across a little bit scorched. So that one I just put on there brand new and said, here you go, and somebody snatched it up. Now, here are 2 candles that you will not see me listing on Mercari because they were sent to me in PR. They are 2 candles from the KRINGLE most recent fall launch. Orange Ginger Honey Cakes. I know I'm not alone in this. I know Melanie's not really a fan of this one. I've heard that there's some other ambassadors that are not a fan of this one as well. For me, you guys, I think it just smells strange to me. It's kind of a dense fragrance, but I think it's the orange and the ginger together are kind of giving off this like powdery type of thing. It's not for me. I don't love it. I am going to go ahead and set that aside to see if Amy wants to try it out. Same with Brown Butter Pear. Now, I know a lot of people were really excited about that. Pear is one of those fragrances for me that, for whatever reason, sometimes when it is warmed, it turns a little bit lactonic to me, particularly when it is mixed with maybe like more gourmand notes. Now, I will say that what pear fragrance is it? Like, okay, American Pie has a pear note in it, but it's mixed with apple, and I love that scent. But there's also another one from KRINGLE. I think it was called like Anjou and Allspice. I had it a few years ago. That's a beautiful pear fragrance. But for whatever reason, the Brown Butter Pear, to my nose, as well as, I'm going to feel justified in this, My entire family, when I was burning that, I started it out in my daughter's bedroom, and every single member of my family walked into that room and said, "What does that smell?" They said it smelled like sweet cream cheese. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what it smells like to me. It smelled very lactonic. So was not a fan of that one. Amy does tend to like lactonic fragrances sometimes. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and see what she thinks of it. And then while we are staying on Kringle, I did go ahead and move on from a 2-wick of Crinkle Cookies. I only have about a third of that one left. And again, that is a discontinued fragrance. I like that one more upon burn, but I tend to burn that with Wishing for Christmas from Kringle. I most recently had it in the Country Candle lineup. It's very similar to Yankee Candle's Christmas Wish. Crinkle Cookies, I loved burning with Wishing for Christmas. The thing is, you guys, I think I've been burning that combo for the last 3 holiday seasons, and I think I'm burned out on it. And I was looking through my stash and being like, you know what? I know that there's going to be plenty of good Christmas fragrances probably coming down the pipeline that I'm going to want to sample from. So I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and move on from that. So Wishing for Christmas times 2. I had 2 of those. I will have that listed on my Mercari. Again, if there's anything available still, you'll see it on there. I think because I have 2 of those and they're both burned, I was going to offer those as like, I'll just send both of them for one solid price. And then the last fragrance that I am decluttering is a Caramel Sundays fragrance, which I know a lot of people loved, and I like it, but again, not an absolute love for me. It is Moon Milk. Again, I feel like the fragrance was released at probably, that's a fragrance that I would burn more so in the springtime because I get a lot of cherry blossom from it. But it's just, again, it's not a fragrance that I'm going to see myself wanting to prioritize burning when I'm going to have a lot of other candles likely to review in the springtime. So, or even then, you guys, even if I want to repurchase, like there's some sense in the spring, I'm thinking of the combination of Kringle's lemon tea and roses with vanilla rose cone. I love that scent, or like a lilac combination. I'm going to reach for that any day over Moon Milk. So I'm just being honest with myself and being like, you know what, let's go ahead and move those out of your collection. So those are all of the candles that I decluttered this month. Again, you guys, it does not mean that they are bad. Doesn't mean that if you like any of those fragrances that your nose is off. It very well could be mine. I know that a lot of people, there's some fragrances that I see everybody else raving about, and I'm like, I didn't like that one. What was the one? Crinkle Cupcake. I see everybody loving that fragrance from last year's Christmas release, and I didn't like it. So again, it could just be my nose. Maybe my nose is changing, just coming to some realizations. And you know what, you guys, I will say, coming to those realizations actually might help you save some money when there's a lot of hype going on, when everybody in the community is saying like, oh, I really, really love this fragrance. Even if it's me, right? Even if it's me saying, oh, I love this one, love this one. If our noses don't align, or if you see that there's notes in there that you're like, yeah, I typically don't like that, now I know. If I see cardamom, if I'm seeing candles that are being marketed as something that's supposed to be emulating a cookie or a dense gourmand, it's kind of going to give up the yellow caution flag of like, I don't know, you might not like that one. So it's good to kind of, the only way that you start to realize what you enjoy is by trying some things out. And again, some of us can try everything, but others times, like, I think we need to be listening to a lot of reviews, aligning our noses with people who are reviewing. I watch plenty of channels, mainly for entertainment value, but I do know the other reviewers who my nose tends to align with, and taking those reviews into account. So I am starting to ramble, which means it is usually my time to go. Let me know in the comment section down below if you have any experience with any of the candles that I was talking about today. What are your thoughts on becoming well acclimated with scents that you do know that you like, ones that you're like, yeah, let me know. Let me know in the comment section if there is a fragrance note that like you've been burning candles long enough that yeah, that one's not going to be for me. I would be really curious to hear what all of your preferences are as well. So again, you guys, if you like this one, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing if you're new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.